So Jon Bones Jones continues to make a big fool out of himself every time he opens his mouth with this whole Tom Aspinall stuff. I mean, tell me you're afraid of Tom Aspinall without telling me you're afraid of Tom Aspinall. Like, this is just next level ducking if I've ever seen any kind of ducking. Like, this is absolutely insane. I mean, you got Jon Jones out here saying, I will not do business with him because he's being an asshole, because he's being mean, so I can't do business with him, which, I mean, Tom really hasn't been that much of an asshole throughout this process. He's been very respectful. I mean, he's done a bit of gamesmanship to do what he needs to do to try to get the fight. He had to promote himself somehow as the number one contender and interim champion, but I mean, compared to like other guys who fought, how is Tom an asshole? I don't get it. Like, so Rashad Evans wasn't an asshole, Chael Sonnen wasn't an asshole, Rampage wasn't an asshole, Gustafsson to some capacity wasn't an asshole, Dominic Reyes wasn't an asshole. I mean, Jon Jones has fought so many guys who have shit talked him throughout his career, and it has done nothing but given him motivation and fuel to want to shut them up and beat their ass. Daniel Cormier was a guy who motivated him, who wasn't the nicest to him when calling him out. So that just sounds soft. I mean, Jon Jones, it's no secret that Jon Jones is a sensitive guy. I mean, there's nothing wrong with being a man who's sensitive, but like, come on. If you compare Tom to all the other dudes you fought, this just sounds ridiculous. Like, this is just Jon doing everything in his power to not fight Aspinall. He's making it so clear, and he's making excuses. And one of them being, Tom is being mean, which that's soft, but that's not the focus of this video. The main focus of this video is Jon Jones, in this interview, gets bullied by a reporter. He gets talked into a corner, and he completely backtracks his entire statement, where in that one interview he said Tom has done nothing to earn a fight with him, and shitting on Tom, shitting on his resume. But then this reporter, he countered everything Jon Jones said, and Jon was he was stuck. He didn't know how to defend his statement. He was stammering, and it was to the point where Jon was like, this guy got me. I have to admit that he's got me. But let's just have a listen to what Jon Jones had to say here. Hold on.
It's not that you.
Hold on, let me try again. Let me get from the beginning.
One of the critiques people have is not that you picking Alex over Tom. It's he doesn't deserve the fight me statement. When you compare his career at this point to when you got a title shot, he has more wins, more stoppages, more wins against ranked opponents, more main events. He's got the interim title. So what is your response to people saying, like, not that you take it out, Pereira, I mean, the guy's amazing.
Right.
But Tom doesn't deserve me comment.
Well, maybe I didn't phrase it right. Maybe I didn't phrase it right. You know, the truth is he does deserve many great things in his life, and I wish him to have a magnificent.
Hold on, can you just do you guys hear how Jon Jones kind of stuttered when answering that question? Like, well, maybe he does deserve it. Like, that's nervous energy right there from Jon Jones. I'm no body language expert, but usually if someone gets gotten like that and talked into a corner, that's the usual response. Is they'll kind of stammer, they'll be stuck, they'll kind of stutter. This is exactly what Jon Jones is doing. Anyway, let's continue.
And UFC career, I really do. I have nothing personal against Tom.
But he was being an asshole, right? That's why you won't fight him?
So maybe I shouldn't have said that he doesn't just...
See that awkward pause? He pauses. He doesn't really know what to say. He doesn't know how to properly defend himself here. So he's trying to come up with any excuse possible. While backtracking, he's trying to come up with the best excuse possible to try to smooth his way out of, I don't know what I'm trying to say, but he's trying to smooth his way into making some kind of excuse, so he has that awkward pause.
Because he does deserve great things. What I'd like to see him do is go on and have a great career. You know, so many times people like to just try to go straight to the top. You know, and if we're in a business setting where he is and where I am, he wouldn't even be crossing paths with me. He wouldn't even be talking to me. You know what I'm saying? That's just what it is.
But he's the interim champion. You're the undisputed champion. He's the number one contender. He won the interim title while you were injured, and he defended the interim title. So, I mean, he would be crossing paths from you. So that statement makes no sense. But anyway.
It's not about what Tom deserves or don't deserve. I believe it's what I do deserve. And after this many years with this company and all the work that I've put in, I believe I'm at a place where I deserve to be able to say, I don't want to fight that guy. I want to fight this guy. I want to fight that guy. And that's why I'm be more than willing to relinquish the belt. I don't feel like I need the heavyweight championship of the world. I feel like what I've created for myself is almost bigger than belts. To take a step back and say, hey, you become the heavyweight champion. Go ahead and let's see you become a 17-time champion. Or let's see you even beat Stipe's record. That's going to be hard for anybody to do. But what I do feel like I deserve is the ability to just take a step back and say, hey, either I retire or I start fighting fights that make sense to my legacy. And Alex Pereira is the only fight right now that makes sense to my legacy. A guy who's young and, my age and active still and have something worthwhile to me. Fans.
Okay, well, let me stop you right there, Jon Jones. So, I don't really agree. With all due respect, I don't agree that Tom does nothing for your legacy or that Alex Pereira really does more per se. I think the only thing more Alex does for you is a fat paycheck. He's a superstar, he's a big name, and he is a legend of the game. But we all know that Alex Pereira, between himself and Tom Aspinall, Alex is the easier stylistic matchup. And okay, I get what Jon Jones is saying. He feels as a legend who's been doing this for a long time. He deserves to go out. He deserves to ride off into the sunset with an easy payday. Alex Pereira, easy stylistically, and you'll make a lot of money out of that fight, beating someone like Alex Pereira. That I understand, and I can kind of respect his willingness to not hold up the belt just to get the Alex fight. I mean, it still makes him look kind of like a bitch, but I mean, who am I to talk? But still, whatever. I'm going to continue the clip.
Around the world, a lot of people really want to see me lose. They really want to see me lose. To see me walk away with all the chips just irks people inside. And I'm glad to be in this position to walk away with all the chips. And yeah, at the end of the day, Pereira's worth risking it for me.
Pereira is not really a risk, though. Tom Aspinall is a bigger risk. I don't really see a risk that Alex brings to the table other than, okay, he has calf kicks and a left hook from hell, but he's not tested against a good wrestler. Everyone knows if you finally put him up against a really good grappler, he'll probably lose. He's been padding his record against strikers like Yuri Prohaska and Jamal Hill and Khalil Roundtree. There's really not much of a risk in fighting Alex Pereira because we all know your path to victory against him, and we all know you're going to take the path of least resistance, and we all know you're going to double leg him and submit him in the first round, unless you just choose to strike with him. Maybe there's a bit of a risk there, but yeah, I don't know. Anyway, go off.
I don't know how many ways I can say it, but he just doesn't have the titles. You know, he can have finishing rate, high finishing rate, and all that type of stuff, but he doesn't have titles. And when you have 17 world titles, it only makes sense to fight somebody on your level. And
what a cringy statement. What a cringy statement. How is Alex Pereira on your level and Tom Aspinall isn't? How is Alex levels above Tom Aspinall? He's definitely not as a fighter. Maybe legacy-wise, maybe in terms of, being a legend and being a superstar, being the face of the UFC. Okay, I'll admit, he has that on Tom Aspinall. But as a fighter, what does he have on Tom? Like, what makes him a bigger threat? Tom Aspinall is, bigger than you, like you admit. He's got grappling. He's got the striking. I mean, he can do it all. And he's a natural heavyweight. Alex Pereira ain't no goddamn heavyweight. So I don't know what you're getting at here. But anyway.
Tom Aspinall and Alex Pereira are not on the same level. Maybe they're both excited. They have the same excitement level. But when it comes down to what they are doing, they're not on the same level. And so for me, when I have belts and I have money and all that type of stuff, I'm looking for the legacy stuff. Tom doesn't give that to me. Hype, I would shut up hype, but I've been doing that my whole life, is shutting up hype. Me, selfishly, I want legacy.
I don't know, man. If you go out and fight, I mean, let's just say this. If you do vacate your heavyweight belt and don't fight Tom Aspinall, and you fight Alex Pereira and retire, beating Alex doesn't do anything for your legacy, really. It doesn't, because fans will say you took the easy way out against an easier stylistic matchup for yourself. That's it. The only thing it will do for you is a fat paycheck. And the only way to recover from that, really, is if Tom Aspinall loses his first defense to, let's say, Surreal Gone, who you beat. Then that will flip the narrative and fans will be like, well, damn, the guy who Jon Jones easily beat Tom Aspinall, so we were wrong. And maybe, yeah, Jon would have beaten him. And he better hope that does happen if he doesn't take the Tom Aspinall fight in favor of Poatan. But let's keep rolling this clip.
That's what I want.
All right, so Jon Jones, he goes out there, he makes his excuses to not fight Tom Aspinall. I mean, I just find it absolutely hilarious how he just completely backtracked his statement from that Kevin Iole interview. At least I think it was the Kevin Iole interview. I mean, it's absolutely hilarious. But yeah, I don't agree. And I think anyone watching this video would not agree that Tom does nothing for Jon Jones' legacy. Yeah, you'll be shutting up hype. Yeah, you've been doing that all your career. But it's no secret that Tom Aspinall may be the most dangerous opponent you've ever faced compared to Rampage Jackson, Shogun Rua, Lyoto Machida, Rashad Evans, you know what I mean? Vitor Belfort, DC even, and Gustafsson as well. Because you're fighting a heavyweight who can literally do it all. You're fighting that next level of super heavyweight. Fighting Tom compensates for the Francis Ngannou fight not happening. And there is a possibility that Tom could actually be a here today, gone tomorrow type of fighter. Maybe he does lose his next fight and turns out to be not all that. We haven't seen Tom Aspinall's cardio tested past the first 2 rounds. That I will admit. But there's still a whole lot of value in beating Tom Aspinall right now. There's a whole lot of value in it. Because again, you're going to shut up a lot of fans who are claiming that you are ducking Tom Aspinall. People are going to see that as a better win than beating Stipe Miocic. If you do get past him on Saturday and then you fight Tom and beat him, people will go from saying, oh, you just defended your belt against an old man Stipe to, damn, you defended your title against a prime and hungry and dangerous beast in Tom Aspinall. And honestly, that is a more respectable win than freaking Alex Pereira. Maybe Tom won't give you the same kind of paycheck that Alex will, which is understandable. But in terms of respect, I think Tom does a lot for your legacy. Maybe he doesn't have the accolades that some of these other guys do or that you do, but people consider him the future of the division, and he just might be. And I mean, what better way to go out than risking it and actually beating him? That's just my opinion. But I just think it's nonsensical for Jon Jones to compare him to Anthony Smith, double-digit loss Anthony Smith and Dominic Reyes and, Thiago Santos. Like, nobody saw hype in the guy who started his first 2 light heavyweight fights knocking out old legends like Shogun and Rashad. Nobody expected anything from Anthony Smith on his way to a title shot. And his best win before then was Volkan Oezdemir, who was winning that fight till he gassed out. Santos, no one expected much from him either. Dominic Reyes was the guy who actually had hype. Somewhat comparable to Aspinall. He was going out there and destroying guys, knocking guys out. a similar Alexander Gustafsson type of style he had going for himself. There's a bit of a comparison to that, but I feel like Tom is the guy. I feel like he might be that. Like, people see him as that guy. Compared to the guys that Jon is mentioning, Tom is seen as that guy. He's got more hype. So, but here's where it gets worse. This is what I'm about to get to in this video. Jon Jones digs an even deeper hole for himself by saying that, okay, I'm going to be focusing on fun fights. You know, I'm gonna compete in fun fights now that I've done it all in my career. He could have just stopped at the Alex Pereira fight. He could have just said, I want Alex and then I'm gonna retire. That's all he could have said. That's all he could have said. Like, where is Jon Jones as a manager? Where is his PR person? Because Jon is saying all the right things. This nigga goes from saying, yeah, I might just fight Alex. I might vacate my belt and fight Alex, which that's fine, as long as you're not holding up the belt. This guy mentions Derek fucking Lewis and Jamal Sweet Dreams Hill. What the actual fuck? So you go from saying Aspinall has done nothing to earn a fight against you, but now not only are you calling out Alex Pereira, the one other heavyweight you would stick around for after Stipe is Derek Lewis, who's not even top 5 anymore and is not even that good. Other than the fact that he's got knockout power, what has Lewis done? You're saying, where is Tom Aspinall's belts and all that shit? Where is Derek Lewis's belts? At least Tom Aspinall has 2 world titles. They're interim, but he's won the interim belt. He's defended the interim belt. People see him as the real champ. They respect him as the real champ of the division. But Derek Lewis? That's just absolutely pathetic. And I get calling out a light heavyweight in Alex Pereira. That's a big fight, actually. I will agree. But Jamal Hill? Jamal Hill, the guy, the one-hit wonder who won the title off Old Man Glover, never got a chance to put his belt on the line because he got injured and vacated, which no one asked him to give up the title. He did that on his own. No defenses of his belt. Jamal Hill right now, he has a chance to redeem his career. But right now, Jamal Hill is known as that guy who only became the champion because Yuri vacated and he fought Yuri's leftovers and then got knocked the fuck out by Alex Pereira. He's known right now as the laughingstock who has an invalid vacant title win and got smashed by Alex after running his mouth. What has Hill done that Tom hasn't done? What has Lewis done that Tom hasn't done? With Proleton, I can kind of get it in the sense that he's got 3 defenses of his belt and he's a 2-division champion. That makes a whole lot of sense in comparison to Lewis and Jamal Hill. Honestly, man, Jon Jones just needs to quit while he's ahead. He's just making it himself look worse, okay? By doing this, you're making yourself look worse. And I like Dylan Dennis's comment where he's like, guys spent 4 years to go to heavyweight to call out light heavyweights. I mean, that is kind of weird. You claimed you weren't ready to fight Francis because you weren't big enough. And now that you put on all this size, you've bulked up enough, now you're complaining that you're too small for Aspinall and you're more comfortable fighting fat-ass, inconsistent journeyman Derek Lewis and Jamal Hill. Like, what a joke, man. Like, just retire at this point. If you beat Stipe, either do us all a favor and retire or vacate the belt, fight Alex, and then just fuck off right off into the sunset. Forget Jamal Hill. Forget Derek Lewis. That's a terrible call out. That's a terrible call out. And look at this one other comment. Calls out Jon Jones on contradicting himself. First legacy fights, then fun fights. Just admit it, bro. You don't want to fight Tom because you want easy fights. Why even come back? You're ruining your legacy right now. Couldn't have said it any better myself. Couldn't have said it any better myself. If you want legacy, okay, Stipe is actually a good legacy fight. I don't like when people compare calling out Stipe to calling out Chuck Liddell. Like, Stipe is not going to be Chuck Liddell level washed when he comes back. He's not going to be BJ Penn level washed. Like, Stipe is still going to be somewhat competent when he goes out there on Saturday night. Stipe is a good legacy fight, and that was the fight that the UFC had planned from the beginning before the Gane fight. So Stipe does deserve to fight Jon. That is a legacy fight. But if you want legacy, I think Tom Aspinall is also a good fight for your legacy. That's also a good fight for you. It really is. Because if you can go out there and prove that Tom isn't all that, I mean, Jon can beat Aspinall. He could take him into deep waters. He could expose Tom's cardio and grappling. He could. He really could. That is perfect for his legacy. Beating Aspinall and Stipe back to back would make him a freaking legend. Beating Ciryl Gane, beating Stipe, beating Aspinall, and maybe beating Alex Pereira too. But yeah, I don't get it. How do you go from saying legacy to then fun fights? Because Jamal does nothing for your legacy. Lewis does nothing for your legacy. Tom Aspinall is a fun fight and a legacy fight. Okay? And then look at this other comment. It's getting harder for Jones fans to defend his fucking ducking allegations. Yeah, as a Jon Jones fan myself, I'm sorry, I cannot defend him here. And it's getting harder and harder to be a Jon Jones fan right now. Like, he's just making himself look like the laughing stock. When he was asked about Aspinall in his interview with Kevin Iole, he shouldn't have made it obvious that he's ducking. He should have just been vague, cryptic, maybe just said, we'll see what happens after this fight. Right now, I'm just focused on Stipe Miocic, and after that, we'll decide what's next. And he should have maybe given Tom some respect in saying that. That's all he had to say, and he wouldn't be getting all these questions about Tom, and fans would respect him a lot more. And he could get away with vacating his belt to fight Alex or, retiring without fighting Tom. But whatever. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Like and subscribe, and peace out.